Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss the custom workflows. First, we will understand what a custom workflow is. A custom workflow is a custom activity developed using C Sharp. It inherits from the code activity class and it is used to write the custom business logic that cannot be achieved using the standard workflow. After the development, we will build it as a DLL, register it in the Dynamics 365, and then it becomes available as a custom workflow activity in the workflow designer. Why do we need a custom workflows? The standard workflow provides only the out of the box actions. If those actions are enough, we will simply use the standard workflow. But whenever the business requirement needs custom C sharp logic that is not available in the out of the box, we will develop a custom workflow. Since it is reusable, we can use the same activity in multiple workflows. The limitations of the standard workflows. A standard workflow can perform actions like creating the records, updating the records, assigning records, sending emails, and creating tasks. But it cannot execute custom C sharp code or handle advanced business scripts. So that's where a custom workflow comes into picture. The registration process of the custom workflow. The registration process is a straightforward. First, create a class library project. Develop the custom workflow using C Sharp, build the DLL, register it in the plugin registration tool, then create a workflow in Dynamics 365 and add the custom workflow activity, configure the parameters if needed, then activate and test. To understand this concept better, I will demonstrate two practical scenarios. The first one is auto calculate the probation end date, and the second one is auto generate employee email ID. So let's start with the first scenario. The business requirement is to automatically calculate the employee's probation end date. Whenever the HR executive enters the staff joining date, the system should automatically calculate the probation end date by adding 6 months. So I have already created a class library project in the Visual Studio. In this, you need to add the references like system.activities and microsoft.xrm.sdk.workflow. Inside this project, I have created a class named calculate probation end date, and this class inherits from the code activity because every custom workflow in Dynamics 365 must inherit from the code activity. Next, I am defining the input parameter. The workflow will pass the employee's joining date to this custom workflow. Since it is a date field, I am using an argument date time. Now I am defining the output parameter. After calculating the probation end date, this value will be returned back to the workflow. Therefore, I am using the out argument date time. Every custom workflow contains an execute method. This is the entry point of our custom workflow. Whenever the workflow calls this activity, the code inside this method will get executed. So here I am reading the staff joining date from the workflow and storing it in the local variable named joining date. This is our actual business logic. The requirement is to calculate the probation end date. So I'm simply adding 6 months to the joining date using add months method. Finally, I'm assigning the calculated probation end date to the output parameter so that the workflow can use this value to update the employee's record. Now let's build the project. Next, we need to add the key by signing the assembly. Give it a name, probation. Okay. Next, rebuild the project. Then we will register this in the plugin registration tool and see how to use this custom workflow inside the CRM. The plugin registration tool, register the assembly, register new assembly, load the assembly, register selected plugins. Now I am navigating to settings. In the process, create a new workflow, give it a name, calculate probation, categories workflow, give the entity name, call it staff, click on OK. Select the scope to organization. When the record is created, select this row and click on Add Step. Then you will find the custom workflow activity which we registered in the PRT tool, auto calculate probation end date. Select that one. Click on set properties. So we need to set the joining date here. Look for college staff in that. Select the joining date and click on OK. Save and close. Then our next step is we need to update the record. Click on set properties. We need to set the probation end date. In the look for, select the auto calculate probation end date custom workflow activity. In that, select probation end date. Click on OK. Save and close. Save. Convert to real-time workflow. Then activate it. Now we'll go back to the user interface and validate our functionality. Enter the details. Select the college, gender, give the joining date. Now save the record. Select the department. Now save the record. See, the probation end date got populated automatically. Let's move on to our second requirement. Whenever a new employee record is created, the system should automatically generate the employee's official email address using the first name and the last name. The generated email format should be firstname.lastname@ashokdynamics.com. So in this requirement, the workflow passes two input parameters, first name and the last name. Inside the execute method, I read both input values, first name and the last name. Then I convert them into lowercase and concatenate them with a dot in between them and append the company domain name @ashokdynamics.com. Finally, assign the generated email address to the output parameter, which is then used by the workflow to update the email address field. So now let's build this code. Then go to the properties and sign the assembly. Click on OK. Then rebuild the solution. Now open the plugin registration tool and register the assembly. Then select the register selected plugins. Click on OK. Now go back to the process. Click on new. Give a name. Populate email ID. Category is workflow. Entity is the Bajaj customer. Click on OK. Give the process name. Category is workflow. Select the entity as Bajaj customer. Click on OK. Set the scope to organization level. Select this row and click on Add Step. In that, we'll select the custom workflow. Click on Set Properties. Set the first name. Next, select the last name. Save and close. Next, click on Update Record. Click on Set Properties. Select the email field and in the Look For, select the custom workflow. Select email address, add, save and close. Save, convert to real-time workflow. Activate. Let's check the functionality now. Open the Bajaj customer entity and create one record. Enter the first name, last name, phone number. Save the record. So the email got populated automatically. So we have implemented our requirement successfully.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. For more Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM tutorials, real-time scenarios, and interview preparation videos, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our latest updates. Thank you and see you in the next video.